Okay, the sponge rabbits, here we go. Now, the move that you want to learn is palming, which is basically this here, where you put something in your hand and it's not there and it's in this one. And the way you pretty much do that is pinch it with two fingers like this. As I do this, now, while I've got it here, the audience can't really see what I'm doing because my hand's covering it, obviously. That's when I pretend to grab it. But at the same time, I pull this back like that. So it looks like that. Okay, so that's practice that move in the mirror until it looks really smooth. And once it looks really smooth, you can actually do it facing up as well because it happens so quick. But for the meantime, just practice with your palm facing the audience so then they can't actually see what you're doing. Okay, so that's basically the move that you want to learn though throughout this whole trick. Once you've got that, you can do the trick. The first routine I'm going to show you with this rabbit is no one knows about these rabbits here. So I have 3 of them in my pocket. Well, actually I have one in my palm like this. I have another one in my fingertips, and I have these two in my pocket. Okay, so now we bring out the big rabbit and we say, hey, check out this rabbit. It's actually got a hole in it, so we can actually feed it as well. So a little bit of a gag. I don't know why the hole's there for. Haven't figured that out yet. Okay, so the routine that I've come up with, you say that you give the rabbit out to people and and you can say squash it, feel it, it's just a sponge rabbit. But what people don't know is you can actually, because it's a sponge, you can actually tear a little bit of the sponge off. Now, obviously I haven't torn a bit of the sponge off. This is just one of the rabbits. But to them, it's like I've just torn a little bit off, but you don't show them that. And then you say, here, hold that in your hand. Keep this one in here. They hold it in their hand and you say, rub it and open your hand. And it should turn into a baby rabbit. And they're going to freak out because it's actually a baby rabbit. And now what you're going to do is grab the baby rabbit, put it with this one, like this, get them to hold out their hand, and now put the two together and hold them down with one finger, your index finger, and just roll it back and forth until they separate. And so you can cut them in half. So now we've got 2 rabbits. Okay, so now what you're going to do is you're going to put one of the rabbits on their hand. So let's say you put this one on their hand, right there. Now, this is where you're going to do that move that I just taught you. So you say to them, I'm going to take this rabbit, I'm going to put it in my hand. Now, as I'm grabbing the rabbit off their hand, I say, you take this one and squash it in your other hand. And then they bring their other hand up and they're going to squash it in that hand. But they think that I've put the rabbit in here. So it looks like this. So you put the rabbit on their hand. You say, hold out 2 hands. So they hold out 2 hands. You say, I'll put this rabbit there. I'll take this one. I'll put it in here. Take this one. Pop it in that hand. So now you put it in their hand and you get them to close their hand. Help them close it. So now they've got the 2 rabbits in their hand. And I've obviously got none here. So once again, you go like this. Bang. Rabbit's still in this one, but they think it's here. And you say, okay, take this one, squash it in that hand. Get them to close that hand. Now they've got the 2 rabbits in there. Okay, so now they're focusing on this hand here. Wave it on top of their hand like this. With your other hand, go in your pocket and grab the other 2 rabbits. No one's going to see it because everyone's focusing here. Count to 3, 1, 2, 3. Get them to open their hand. And they're going to freak out because they've got both the rabbits in their hand. Now what you're going to do is grab both those rabbits and say, here, squash them again, but rub it again this time. Now I've actually put the other 2 rabbits in there. So now they're going to have 4 small rabbits. And then they open it and they freak out. And that's one way to do the rabbit trick. Cheers.